What is up, guys? I hope you're all having an amazing day as usual. Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are here and you're not already subscribed, I highly recommend that you do so. I appreciate all the support. In the last video, the short little update, I was going to start working on the hardbody. Like I said in the last video, I blew up the transmission on an hour drive. So yeah, that's what we're going to start working on tonight. Right now I'm doing the inside part, which is getting all the transmission linkage, or I guess the shifter assembly, out of the truck so that we don't have anything holding the transmission in from the top. And then we're going to go ahead and jack everything up. I'm going to put the rear on ramps and put the front on jack stands, and I think it should be good from there. So yeah, let me go and show you guys what I've been doing. So like I said, I started on the inside already. All it is taking like shift boot and other things out. Truck's a little bit dirty right now because I haven't had the chance to clean it since I've gotten it back. But yeah, pretty much all you do is you take the shift boot, the dust cover, this little zip tie that goes around this smaller dust cover, and then you have a snap ring in here, as you can see. That's pretty easy to get out. And then I think you have a couple little plastic things that you have to pull out. Yeah, it should be pretty easy. I don't think I'll have much issues with it. So yeah, I'm gonna go and pull out my snap ring pliers and see what we can get done real quick. All right, guys, so I got the snap ring out. It's a little bit of a hassle. It's a pretty big snap ring, but I think from here, put it in neutral. Pretty easy. As you can see, it has this little piece on it right here. If you ever want to go to an S13 type shifter, you can on the hard bodies. I think there's just a couple of little things that you have to do. Like, I think everything back here is the same except, yeah, this little plastic piece. I think you have to end up chopping off. Oh, well, it fell through. I think you can end up using that little plastic piece and everything else is good. When you go to an S13 type shifter, of course, it's not really going to matter for me because I'm using a different kind of transmission. That's your only hint. But yeah, the top, that's all you need to do for the top. So we're going to go and get the car up on ramps and jack stands, throw on some gloves because my hands are already dirty. And so we'll go real quick. I have the truck in the back on a couple pieces of wood, and in the front on a couple of jack stands. So we're gonna go and start working on the bottom, show you all the connectors, little bolts besides bell housing bolts, and the drive shaft, what all to get out. So yeah, let's get connectors. You're gonna have this connector right here, this connector, sorry, up here. Then you're gonna have the starter way up here in the corner. Try to get a better look at that. You don't have to disconnect the wires to the starter. You can just unbolt it and set it aside as best as you can. Then the slave cylinder, and I believe there's another sensor more towards the top of the engine bay. And then after that, we're gonna have to do the whole drive shaft. I'm pretty sure you can just take it off from the half right there, and then just from the transmission somewhere up here, it's past this subframe part. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get these connectors, the slave, and the starter taken off. So yeah, let's get to it. The cylinder is gonna be two 14mm bolts. So I can crack this open from right here. No, I'm gonna have to take that extension off. But yeah, two 14mm. I'm pretty sure the starter is the same thing. So as you can see, starter and slave cylinder are off. Quick tip, the top bolt on the starter is definitely the harder one to get. It doesn't really matter which configuration you go, top, bottom, bottom, top. But you do want to be patient. It's definitely the tougher of the bolts, the top one. So yeah, just gonna go ahead and drain the transmission fluid, which is right here. It's a 1/2 inch socket, as you can see. if I can get a better angle. As you can see, this whole transmission is very dirty. There you go. That's a drain hole right there. And then we're going to start working on the bell housing bolts. Try to get a better angle. I'm pretty sure they're all 14 millimeter. We're just going to keep on going, try to get that connector, anything else that I need to do. So yeah. Alright guys, so as you can see, I have the drive shaft out. Usually most people, they say that they pull it apart like right here in the middle. I was actually having some issues. It was starting to round off a couple of the bolts. I just couldn't get to them very well. So you can see in the very back, I went ahead and just pulled it from the differential. It was a whole lot easier. It's going to be 4 14 millimeter bolts. You're not going to be able to use a socket. You're going to have to use a wrench. In the back, you're able to use the like round part of the wrench, but up here you have to use the like open-ended part, and I think that's why I was starting to round them off. I just could not get a very good like grip on the bolts. But no matter which way that you do it, either from here or the very back, you're gonna have the pilot bearing mount, I guess. It's gonna be 2 17 millimeter bolts. It's gonna be attached right here on the subframe. It's gonna be a bolt right there, right there. They're 17 mil. They're pretty easy to get to. You can use a shallow 17 millimeter. You can't fit a deep in there, so use your shallow 17 millimeter and it should be a breeze. Mine were a little bit stuck on there, and then you're gonna want to pull out your, I guess, like shackles, I don't know, just mount pieces for the pilot bearing. As you can see, mine is shot. Make sure you get a replacement pilot bearing, and to replace them, you're still gonna have to take these 14 millimeters off. So yeah, I'll probably still end up doing that just so I have a good pilot bearing. But yeah, last thing I need to do besides pulling bell housing bolts out is the transmission subframe. It's going to be those two bolts. They're 14s. These two bolts on the direct other side, they're 14s as well. And then my head's on a wrench. And then you're going to have a 17 up in here and a 17 up in there. I'm not sure if you need to pull those out. I think it's actually just these two, which are 14s as well. Sorry, it's really close, but I don't have very much room under here. But yeah, you just got to pull the whole transmission subframe out, get it out from under the exhaust pipe, and the transmission should be ready to get pulled out. And I think you kind of just got to wrangle it out, and you're going to be pulling the bell end out, lay it down, and then you can pull the tail end out, because there's still some structural parts that the tail end hangs onto. So yeah, we're going to go and get this transmission subframe out. Remember, when you're doing this, to have a jack supporting the transmission. This is the main transmission support, besides the bell housing bolts, but those don't really count. So yeah, get a jack up under here. Make sure your transmission is stable before you start removing any of these. You don't want a big ass transmission falling on your head. Be a very bad day. So yeah. So guys, real quick, I've been ratcheting at these two bolts. These are the two 14s that have the same thing on the other side, somewhere over there. But I've been ratcheting on these for like 5 minutes. Didn't realize they're not attached to the top, so they were just free spinning. I was like, wow, I'm not getting any threads down. So make sure you get something on top to hold it. Unbolt the transmission from the exhaust, unbolt the bell housing, and see what we can get done with that. So let's go, guys. So I got these two 12s out for the exhaust to transmission mount. And then those 17s I talked about earlier, I got those out. They do have like a flat piece. Let me see if I can find one. So here's the bolt. This is going to be the top part. It is kind of sandwiched in with the transmission, so it will try to keep itself steady, but kind of push your finger from the top. You can get up there with your finger and hold this bolt down so that you can continue loosening it. It shouldn't be that tight. But yeah, after you get that, the transmission will be completely separated from this cross member, like cradle. I don't even know what this thing is called, subframe. But now I'm starting to work on the 14s that hold the transmission to the block, I guess the bell. So I'm not completely sure how many there are. They're a little bit hard to see. I already know there's going to be a couple up top that are a little bit tough, but I noticed this. I'm pretty sure this is the speed sensor, the VSS, and it leads all the way up there, and I'm pretty sure you can get it from the top. So when that comes, I'll go ahead and show you guys how to grab that from the top. But yeah, we're gonna continue loosening and taking out all the transmission bolts. So yeah, guys, so as you can see, I went ahead and took the transmission subframe off. It wasn't that difficult, of course. The main thing was just trying to get to the top part of the bolts. This part right here is for the transmission to exhaust mount. But anyways, as you can see, transmission is free of all the bolts of the transmission. There is a top one that is a little bit hard to get to, but use every assortment of 14s that you have, short socket, deep socket extensions, and you will be able to get these bolts out. Now the last thing that I need to do is the VSS and actually pull the transmission out. So yeah, I'm gonna go and see if I can wrangle this little transmission out. Guys, so it was a hassle, but this transmission is out. I still haven't disconnected the speed sensor, I guess. Honestly, I don't even know how. I'm gonna see exactly how I need to disconnect that so that I can get this transmission out from under this truck. But yeah, it was a hassle. It was like the first time I've ever benched something in a couple of years, so it was pretty tough. But yeah. Alright guys, so I finally got the VSS off. Honestly, I just cut it off. At any point I can get a new VSS. It hooks up right there. So yeah, at any point I can just get a new one. And now I guess the second fun part is somehow getting this transmission out from under this truck. As you can see, the truck is not very high off of the ground. I don't have a very good jack, so yeah, we're gonna see if we can wrestle this thing out from under the truck. Hopefully I can. So yeah. Alright guys, so the transmission is out. I was able to pull it out through the wheel well. It was a little bit of a hassle, but yeah, the main thing is this transmission is out, and I might as well show you guys the new transmission. Alright guys, so this is the new transmission. As you can tell, it's a little bit longer than the hardbody trans. This is a 1991 240SX KA24DE transmission. So it's pretty much exactly the same as the current transmission. It for today, guys. I still got to clean everything up, move that transmission. Like I said, in the next episode I'm going to be showing you guys how to dismantle these transmissions, swap everything over, make everything stock. But have the internals of a 240SX transmission. The second and third episodes I will start making very soon. Second, swapping transmissions over, and the third episode, getting the new transmission in. Anyways, guys, you all have a amazing day. Follow the Instagram, and I'm tired. Peace out, guys.